Now, San Antonio Living.
Welcome back to San Antonio Living. We're going to spend the next half hour here talking about addiction and recovery. Our friends from the Soba Recovery Center are joining us in studio this morning. Of course, you know actor Daniel Baldwin, a big advocate of Soba. Also joining us, Alex Dorgici, the operations manager out there. Scotty Brown is new to the conversation this morning. He is the co-founder of Soba, along with Greg Hanley with Soba Texas. It's good to see everybody. Thank you for coming.
Thanks. Yeah.
So you're the new guy on the couch this morning.
Hello.
I know you and Greg
everybody.
have been friends for a long time. Tell me a little bit about your connection to Soba.
Well, I had an idea. My dad was going to help me. He said, find one of your friends to help you. Luckily, I found Greg.
Yeah. And together, you guys created the Soba Recovery Center. I know, Greg, that was sort of a goal for you. It was like a dream to see this recovery center come to life, to be able to help people and create sort of a family atmosphere for people who are trying to recover from addictions.
Yeah, no. Well, I'd like to say that I had that idea at first, but it really evolved from us on a Thursday night not having anything to do, and we had a meeting in my garage and started talking about just having a place to hang out. So over the years, Scotty had found a property for me to buy in Malibu, and we made a little clubhouse so people that were new to recovery could have a place to gather. And then we noticed that there was a lot of things that were not designed to help people recover, and we started doing that. So a lot of times people go, what a great idea, and it wasn't anything that I had thought about. It just kind of evolved out of necessity.
Yeah, luckily, Greg was probably one of the only people that could have pulled it off the way he did, you know. Because his background and experience working with people, and luckily, you know, he's recovering and, you know, was able.
And if I may, one of the things that I think explains the whole Soba experience has been exactly what Greg said. It came of his analysis of things that were missing, things that were necessary. As he continues to grow, in the San Antonio area, we've talked about some of the needs for our military men and women, you know, and so as he continues to analyze this, Soba grows and goes in paths based on what people's needs are, which is a unique thing for a recovery center.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the process and you see holes. You see places where people are able to fail, and you're trying to close up those holes to make sure that people are successful. And one of the things that we should let you know that sets Soba apart from other recovery centers is the fact that this is not just a 30-day program. Alex, can you talk about why that's important?
Oh, I mean, asking any therapist or specialist or even people who have been around the program for, doesn't matter, 1 year or 30 years, they talk about the #1 reason somebody gets multiple years is length of time. So treatment centers that people know about, they're 28-day or 30-day like they talk about. And those are, as you've heard Greg and we all talk about it, those are designed to fail. They don't work. So it takes a long time to get a habit or get an addiction, and it's going to take longer than 28 days or 30 days to break it.
Absolutely.
So that's the difference with Soba. There's not really a length of time. It's ongoing. It's
a lifestyle they're trying to build, and that's what breaks the fellowship with the clubhouse and his parties and events for holidays.
That's so important because I want to go back a little bit because I can envision you guys kind of sitting in the garage and you're like, hey man, I'm trying to be sober. There's no place for me to go. I want to have fun. I want to live my life. There's just not a place to do that. So that's what drove you to start Soba. How important is it to have that kind of support system, I suppose? People that are going through the same thing as you, that don't disappear after 30 days, that are there for the long haul.
Well, it's critical. Scotty actually took me under his wing when I first entered recovery, and I didn't realize, I thought that drugs and alcohol were the problem, and then they took them away and I found out that I had problems. And, you know, one of them was that I was really socially awkward. I had a lot of social anxiety without a drink or a drug in my hand. And he introduced me to people, took me to parties, kind of got me out in the community a little bit, and that's where the fellowship becomes so important. And we create kind of a family atmosphere. I'd like to say, and we have the most wonderful therapists and people we could find in San Antonio, and I'd like to say that's really what does it, but what does it is the guys who are ahead of them, kind of keeping them, you know, having a safe place and people that understand what's going on, and they really hold each other up.
Absolutely, and I think that's so important as to why you're here, because you are a leader in the community. I mean, people look up to you, and this is something that you've been through. You're here talking with us about it on the San Antonio Living Show. You're a cool guy, you know? There's life after addiction.
Well, I have to say, I have to be one of the more shining examples of what we're talking about here, and that is that I went to rehab 9 times. And I don't say this to diss any of the other rehabs, and I went to the big ones, you know, the ones that write all the books and everything else. I couldn't tell you the name of one person that was a counselor there, maybe 1 or 2, of 9 different times. I know hundreds of people that I see still coming back years and years later to the Thursday night alumni meeting at Soba in Malibu. And I'll go there and I'll see guys, and I'll be like, oh, hey, what's up, Lars, and what's up this person, what's up that person? And they don't have to come to that meeting. Yeah. They come back because they're part of that 12th step, that having had a spiritual awakening, we now reach out to the addict that still suffers. They come back because that's their family. This is a family. Yeah. For sure.
It is, and the family is right here in San Antonio, in the Hill Country. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about the programs they have at Soba Recovery. Of course, they're in the Texas Hill Country. If you'd like to find out more, if you know someone who needs help, call the number that you see on your screen. Check the website as well. They're on Facebook and Twitter. It's Soba. We'll be right back. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. This morning we're talking about addiction and recovery, and we have a fabulous panel of guests from Soba, Texas. Joining us this morning, actor Daniel Baldwin, Alex Draghici, who is the Director of Operations, Scotty Brown, co-founder of Soba. He actually came up from Malibu to join us this morning, and Greg Hanley with Soba, Texas. Thank you guys all for being here this morning. We were talking a little bit about how important it is to have a family to support you, whether it's your blood family or your new sober family, to get you through the addiction and recovery process. And that's what's so important to mention about Soba. This is a new facility, not that new, you guys have been here with us for about a year, right here in San Antonio, that is completely different than any other facility out there, because they believe in longer than a 30-day program. If you've done a 30-day program and haven't been successful, the reason is you may have not gone to the right place. And I encourage everyone to get online and find out a little bit more about Soba, Texas. So Greg, I know the holidays are a really hard time for people who are dealing with an addiction, people who are in recovery as well. There's a ton of parties, family issues, craziness. Do you have some tips for people to help them get through this tough time?
Well, if you have people that are in recovery in your family, try to be supportive of them and understand that it is a hard time for them. If you have somebody that comes home, I mean, generally at family parties on the holidays, somebody gets drunk or something, or somebody is acting out, and that usually causes the big problems at the holidays. Now, and if you're in recovery, stay close. We, at our clubhouse, we would hold a Thanksgiving for people that didn't really have families to kind of interact with each other. We'd have Christmas, we'd have a New Year's party, because you're surrounded in the holidays with people that are doing things that might not work for you.
So it's okay to remove yourself from the equation. And I think as family members, you have to understand that if you've got someone who's going through the recovery process, and if they can't be with you that day, you gotta let that go. Let them do what they need to do to be healthy.
Greg brought up a really good point earlier in the conversation, and that was, remember too, when you're going into the holidays, you're being usually thrust into a family dynamic that is not something that you've been around in some time.
Yeah.
You know, you're not with your family all the time, your siblings, your mom, your dad, and so on. Suddenly you're these few holidays a year, Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, now you're around all your brothers. This can bring up a lot of old stuff, you know, and feelings and that. I know in my family, you know, having all 6 of the kids together can sometimes be very challenging for me. And remember, too, that people that are sober usually live a very structured life now. You know, that's something we didn't have in our life before, that we learn these types of things at Soba. And now you're taking that structure away. You're not working, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. So, you know, you leave yourself very susceptible. Embrace that, you know, and ask for help, you know. Reach out to the people around you that are sober.
Scotty, I know you are here in San Antonio with us today, but Malibu is your home. I know you've seen the Soba facility in Malibu grow and become amazing.
It's unbelievable.
How lucky are we here in San Antonio to have a Soba facility?
Oh, very lucky. I went there yesterday for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is just what... I get goosebumps. To me, it's a spiritual awakening that Greg was able to put all this together, and I'm literally getting goosebumps right now. Because to see it and to see all the people around the campfire there, just, you know, that's what works, you know? One addict helping another in a great environment, and Greg knows how to do that.
I'll tell you what, I work with a lot of people in this business, and sometimes you see people that, you know, they're just out there doing what they do because it makes them money and they do what they do. But when you see the enthusiasm that you guys have for this recovery center, it gives me chills, because you guys are there for the right reason. You know, you put everything that you have into this recovery center. You've been through the process yourself, and I know that it is in your heart. You really want to help people, and that's why you guys are here in Texas.
Well, Greg and Alex are very hands-on, you know, and Greg in multiple facilities, Alex certainly at Soba, Texas. But they will tell you what it's like when the parents haven't seen the child, Greg, in 3 months, and they come out and see their kid. Oh,
it's amazing. Well, even to me, because I go back and forth to California a bit, and sometimes, yesterday, I was walking past this girl, and I had to stop in my tracks, and I turned around, and I couldn't believe the transformation. And it was everything. There was this brightness, and it's kind of like if you see a kid that you hadn't seen in a while, how much they grew up. And it's always, I met some parents yesterday, and it was a really tearful reunion, because, and the most often thing they say is, you gave me my son back, or you gave me my wife back, or you gave, you know, they thought it was lost, and we can help them find their family again.
Alex, if there are people that are watching at home this morning and you're the guy, you're the operations guy.
You asked the question, I'm going to do it. Ready?
What do they need to do to get into the facility? What kind of information do they need to have?
It starts with the phone call.
Boom! Boom!
The
gavel comes down.
There's a lot of people who are really professional, and they know how to talk to somebody and walk them through. There's no obligation. You're not going to get some salesperson trying to force you to come in, and it's actually quite the opposite. We want to educate people that are calling, and we really walk them through every single step. From also what it costs. And we don't, one of the things that Greg has got out there at all of his facilities is he doesn't want finances to be a reason somebody can't get the absolute best treatment.
Yeah, everyone's going to do their best there to walk, like Alex would walk you through, and figure a way out. You know, and we know you're fearful. To make that call is courageous, you know, to call up a stranger and ask for help that way. And we understand that, so...
The number's on your screen. It's right there. Whether you are someone who's dealing with an addiction or a family member, jot the number down. Again, they're right here in San Antonio, Soba, Texas, sobatexas.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. This morning we're chatting with our friends from Soba, Texas, and we were talking about the fearfulness in picking up the phone, because that is the first step to help. And Greg, I know you wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, I did the intake calls for all of my facilities for a couple of years, and something that was, and so it's not about us talking to you. There was so many times that I had somebody call on the phone, and I would ask them what's going on, and they would just start talking, and it could be 5 minutes of all the different things that they're worried about, what's happening in their family, and different ideas, and I would tell them I can help with that. And you could feel a calmness. And sometimes these things, you don't have anybody to talk to, and you're embarrassed about it, or you just don't know what to do. And the people that answer the phone are somebody that can talk to you. And that's the main thing. It's not sitting and judging and blah, blah, blah to you. It's you know, most of the people needed somebody to listen to them. And that's where it really starts.
I think a reason that a lot of people are fearful to make that phone call is because they can't imagine life without drugs or alcohol. And I want to point out that all of you sitting here are highly successful. You lead a fantastic life. You know, you've got great families, great friends. Scotty's got a huge career. I know you may recognize him from $1 Million Listing. I know you're a realtor out in California. I mean, what is life after addiction?
Well, I was on a pink cloud, I guess, to begin with. I'm like, oh my God, I've got this new lease on life, and let's enjoy it now, you know? Because they say we're not a glum lot, you know? So to be happy, joyous, and free from addiction can open up so many other areas in your life to be successful at.
Same thing with you. Successful actor, family man. I mean, you have it now, I'm
going to give you the best analogy I can. That feeling when your child comes and, you know, my little daughter's squealing, running towards me, and she holds me and she hugs me in that 1 second where you just close your eyes and you go, wow, you know, I didn't feel that while I was using. Like there isn't, I didn't live a life. I was an addict. I now feel everything, good and bad. But I feel it, and those problems that I was using over that I didn't want to deal with were waiting for me as soon as I stopped using anyway, so it didn't accomplish anything. But now I fight through the tough times, and I really get to feel the beautiful things in life. It's great.
I'll tell you what, if you are ready to make that phone call, there are a team of people ready to help you at Soba, Texas. It's right there on your screen. It's 866-547-6451. We're going to talk a little bit more about what Soba does when we come back. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. Thank you for joining us this morning, talking about recovery and addiction. We're very lucky to have Soba, Texas here to help you. Greg Hanley founded Soba, Texas. I want you to finish this out because we're very lucky to have this kind of facility here. There's also another facility in Bernie that people can check into if they need sort of a pick-me-up, a little refresher course. I mean, you guys are here to help.
Well, Bernie is primarily for people that can't go into treatment, so they can do a outpatient and kind of get a feel for it, or it's for people that can be a little nervous. The main thing is that we treat everything, and so it can be a mom who just had a surgery and got on pills and is a little worried about it, or because it's sneaky like that. It's not just a hardcore drug addict or an alcoholic. We treat many, many different things.
Okay, so whatever it is you're dealing with, know that there's a team in place at Soba, Texas. They're going to talk to you. They're going to get you started. The phone number is on your screen. Call them right now, 866-547-6451. Thank you guys for being here. Soba, Texas. We'll see you next time. Bye.